Hi, I'm Andrew,
Hi, I'm Colin.
and this is our college football podcast. Now, how did a team that got paid $1.85 million in New Mexico State beat a very solid Auburn team?
Well, in this week's video, we're going to be answering questions like that and much more, such as
A 30-second summary of the week.
and prime, as well as questions of the week, such as should Caleb be drafted first or is Clemson dynasty over, as well as our Pac-12 power rankings and the predictions for next Saturday.
All right, so to start, very full week, very fun week. Start off 30-second summary. Non-Pac-12 conference, Georgia versus Tennessee. What are we thinking about Georgia? What are we thinking about Tennessee? How does this relate to the playoff picture?
Georgia's a solid team. I think that Tennessee might have been a team that could have upset them because they're ranked. But nope, Georgia steamrolled them like most people expected. Georgia's legit. They're going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, even if we get a loss to Alabama, then maybe two SEC teams make the playoff.
Okay.
Because Georgia's so solid, beating tons of ranked teams by great margins. Not a whole lot aside from that to talk about there. Next, Washington versus Oregon State.
Well, there's a close game. A very close game. Came down to the last 2 minutes. Washington was able to pull it off. It was kind of low scoring, a lot more than I expected. But it was a good game, 22-20. Washington's still undefeated, and they will most likely make the playoffs.
Right, two high-powered offenses. Again, really low scoring. Washington's defense, very impressive effort. Maybe that'll segue into the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon. Unfortunately, a safety was the difference. 2 points in that game. So it would have been perhaps if a safety doesn't occur, then we go into overtime. It's a much even better game, but still a very excellent effort. Washington definitely a top 2 team in the Pac-12.
Okay. But the one thing I'm gonna say about this game is Michael Penix. Man, he was not too awesome. That was not to me. That
wasn't
was
a Heisman
not a
level
Heisman performance.
Yeah.
That was not. He only had 162 yards, and he completed less than half of his passes. That's not a Heisman level performance.
Right. And this begs the question, is he truly a Heisman level candidate
Is he?
Caleb Williams, maybe Bo Nix?
I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. But
moving on to New Mexico State, Auburn. As promised, we will answer. How did this happen? Well,
first of all, let's realize that why are they paying them? Well, big schools like Auburn need to pay little schools like New Mexico State. Because who wants to go there and play horrible teams? And who wants to go play a team way better than you, way bigger conference? Who would do that? Well, that's why Auburn wants those seemingly free wins, and that's why they played New Mexico State. But they were wrong. New Mexico State is a strong team this year.
Right.
A very strong team. They got 9 wins. And I feel that they were able to pull off. They were a better team, but they just didn't realize it once they scheduled.
Right. And the issue is Auburn is in a very strong SEC. They're 6-5, 3-3 home, right? The SEC, you got Georgia, Bama, you got big dogs, a lot of tough games, right? And Auburn's big school, big program, got a lot solid recruiting class. They have the resources to pay supposedly worse teams like New Mexico State. Tons of money, but it's extremely unfortunate. You have tons of people in the stands crying. It was rough, and Pavia, the quarterback for New Mexico State, he put up 200 yards, but the key is he put up 3 touchdowns. A very high-powered New Mexico State offense, on the ground as well. Also very strong defensive effort, holding Auburn to 10. Georgia couldn't hold Auburn to 10 when Georgia played Auburn, so perhaps a very underestimated 9-3 New Mexico State team. All right, moving on to Prime.
Okay,
so
we
Colin's
got
mom,
some rare Prime bottles
yeah.
over here, and we're gonna drink it. This is worth about $60 on eBay. So we're just
maybe I don't think anyone's ever bought one of these off of eBay.
They have though.
They have.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Quick
Yeah,
review.
Colin's mom in New York went to the Prime convention, got us some Prime. We'll get into the other stuff later. 25 likes, and we'll open up. There's a special.
Special rare
only
edition.
300. You want with 176 out of 300.
176.
If we get 25 likes on this video, then we'll open all that stuff up and we'll drink it.
Alright, we're gonna
All right, 3, 2, 1.
chug the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Thirsty.
I'm very dehydrated right now, so
Yeah.
hopefully that will help and increase the quality of our
Hey,
videos.
well, how'd you? Was it good? What did you
I
think?
liked it. I liked it a
It
lot.
was pretty sweet, right?
Yeah, it was sweet. Almost like a lemonade-ish.
Yeah, a lemony coconut.
Delicious.
Very good.
Okay. So now we're gonna go back to football. Questions of the week. Should Caleb be drafted first overall?
Caleb Williams should not be drafted first overall. And here's why. I think it's Caleb Williams, former Heisman, no regression from the year prior. And as per Lincoln Riley, same work ethic day in, day out. And, Caleb Williams should not be punished for the team struggles. I mean, the team, very subpar record, not what SC had in mind at the start of the season, but that's those are due to factors because of the program. Very poor defense. Alex Grinch already fired. Very poor offensive lineman. The amount of pressures Caleb Williams has had is through the roof. But does that account for a very subpar against top 25 defenses?
No.
The completion rate 50%, 172 yards, 6 touchdowns and 6 picks. I don't think so. I don't think against closer to NFL caliber defenses. I mean, Caleb Williams can put up NFL caliber numbers. So unless the receiving core, offensive line, the weapons, the organization's good, maybe like a Jacksonville after firing Urban Meyer or any other solid organization, then I totally think that could be that would foster a great environment for Caleb. Very good progression because we haven't seen any progression, maybe even a little bit of regression because this year Caleb's faced harder defenses. So no, I mean excellent playmaker. Every single week he's jump pass, underhand pass, a bunch of trick plays, but vision issues, locking onto one target, accuracy sometimes good, sometimes bad. I don't see him being a first overall draft pick.
We'll see. I think the hype is just so much that it's gonna be hard not. He's just so raw. I think all the things that he lacks are mental decision making. So I think he's just such a raw talent that a lot of coaches say he has all the stuff that we can't teach.
Yeah,
Now
exactly. The arm
teach him.
talent is beautiful.
Let's teach him some of the stuff that we can, like reads and decision making,
Right.
and just working in a different offense. So we'll see.
We'll see. Next is Clemson's dynasty over? They're extremely hit and miss. Win against Notre Dame, near win against FSU, win against UNC. At home, perhaps they do retain that dynasty. Great quarterback play on their side. Great running game. Very strong offense. Defense is a challenge sometimes, but it's solid. Away though, all this is amounted to a 7-4 record.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you
You
think?
just have to say, first of all, they're 7th in the ACC. They've run that conference year in, year out for maybe the past 10 years. The dynasty's over. They've been a college football playoff contender for a long, long time. This year, they're not even ranked. I think the dynasty's over. Dabo's still there, but they gotta win. But the thing is, they're losing to teams like NC State, Miami, Duke. They would have blown those teams out 3 years ago when they were at prime. Think about it. They're 4-4 in conference. They won the conference for 6 years straight. It's over. Dynasty's over.
Right. Truthfully, Clemson's perhaps a USC type team. Very strong, very prominent for so long, and in recent times, perhaps COVID kind of sparked like the fall. Very unfortunate because they have such a rich history.
I actually know exactly why. Dabo Swinney does not want transfers. It's a new era of the game. If you can't stay on the new era, if you can't allow transfers, you're not going to do well. I think the transfer portal has been so utilized over these times that if you just don't allow transfers, you're not going to win because you're going to have kids transferring out and you're not going to get people to replace them. So I think that's why the dynasty's kind of fell. It's kind of self-imposed.
All right, moving on to the final question of the week. Who are the top 5 defensive linemen in FBS? I mean, you might be able to tell us something on that, Colin, as you do play on the defensive line.
Okay, so at number 5, I'm going to talk about Javon Solomon from Troy. He's not a defensive lineman, but he is a rush end linebacker, and he's been putting up some great numbers. He's from Troy. He got 13 sacks on the season and the forced fumble. He is a game wrecker on that outside. Next, I'm going to talk about Jonah Ellis. He played USC. Very, very solid defensive lineman. He was leading the country in sacks for a while. He's got 12 right now, and he's able to use his big, lengthy body, get his arms up, and he's got 3 pass deflections. Next, I think it's Trey Moore. He's also an outside linebacker, and he's got 14 sacks this year, as well as an interception, which is rare for an outside linebacker, as well as a forced fumble. Great defensive lineman or edge rusher. Next, I think it's Jalen Green. He leads the whole entire country in sacks with 15.5, as well as a pass deflection, interception, and forced fumble. He is really one of the reasons why James Madison is pulling off a miracle year. And finally, to me, the best defensive lineman in the country is Laiatu Latu. He was an absolute monster against USC. He's racked up 13 sacks on the season, most in the power conferences, as well as 2 forced fumbles, 2 pass deflections, and an interception.
Yeah, and there's I have a few comments, 2 things. I think Jalen Green, very solid number 2 against a James Madison team who are, I think, ranked. But I mean, if you are playing at like UTSA, Troy type teams, I mean, you obviously like you could still be like really solid, really good. Just like the level of competition isn't gonna be there, but still very respectable. Probably top 5 players. And then the guy for Latu for UCLA, absolutely excellent against USC. USC defense. They kind of gave up in the second half. Let him get 2 sacks against Caleb in a row towards the end. So but still, I mean, USC team isn't amazing, but they're solid. They have some star power, and he had a very impressive performance against them.
Okay. So now we're going to go over our Pac-12 power rankings.
So now that the season's coming to a close, we're gonna do about top 6. Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, Colorado is not probably not gonna be bowl eligible. So let's run through them. Number 1, Oregon.
Okay, Oregon. Yes, they lost to Washington, but I think there's some more of a complete team. Even though Washington's defense showed out against Oregon State, it's really a coin flip between those 2. Mm-hmm. Washington's number 2. Great team, great offense. I just don't know how much I can trust their defense.
Right. Arizona 3. They had quarterback struggles in the beginning, got hurt. Similar to like a Tom Brady type story. Backup replaced them, went crazy. Now they're ranked.
Completely new team. They killed Utah.
A very solid Utah team who edged out a win against.
They're 8-3, but this reminds me a lot. Remember that 2017 USC year with Sam Darnold, who came back. They started 1-3 just like Arizona, and now they're absolutely rolling. Mm-hmm. They haven't looked back. Right. This is a special year for them.
Mm-hmm. Oregon State at number 4. This kind of feels like an injustice to Oregon State because in most other conferences they would be at least top 3, but the Pac-12's so stacked this year.
Yeah. Tough loss to Washington.
Right.
Uiagalelei threw 2 picks, which you can't do against
a Washington defense.
So you can't do that against a top 5 team if you want to win the game.
Mm-hmm. But again, Martinez on the ground, absolutely electric from Martinez. I think he's absolutely a top 5 running back in FBS.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of carries.
Yeah.
Number 5, USC. They're questionable.
Yeah. They have their ups and downs. This game was I think out of 10 times they probably beat UCLA like 5. This was kind of like. The score doesn't do justice how well, and a lot of it comes down to turnovers too. A lot of very sudden turnovers on SC. Ball security was questionable, and finally 6 UCLA, pretty similar to SC. It's about a coin flip.
Yeah,
similar record.
Tartan has great on the ground game, and I think we just had a hard time stopping them, and I think the main reason why USC lost was the lack of the run game. I'm sorry, but that might have been the worst running performance.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this begs the question how good Marshawn Lloyd is. Yeah.
3 yards, 22 carries. Are you serious? Are you serious? 3 yards on 22 carries. A long of 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
just unacceptable.
Right. And Marshawn Lloyd, absolutely stellar quarterback or running back before this, a highly touted draft prospect against an NFL caliber defense. Is he anymore?
No, that's just.
It's kind of
It's
embarrassing.
kind of on the offensive line at the same time.
Sure. I mean, it's not the strongest.
We literally average 0.1 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We couldn't even average 1.
1 yard a carry. We can average 0.5 yards a carry.
We average 0.1. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we going to do? We couldn't even touch the ball in the ground game.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, he looked pretty good. He threw a pick, only 1 touchdown. But if you look at the yards and the completion percentage, it's not bad. But I think the run game is really what.
Right. And finishing things off, predictions for Saturday. Oregon versus Oregon State. I mean, the reason why I want to touch on this like a tiny bit. The reason why we have Oregon above Washington. Oregon lost by about 3 points. They had at least 6 points in field goals that they didn't attempt. So they when they did play, they really it's just coaching here. I mean, the coaching at Oregon's excellent, but it's a little too aggressive. They're going for 2 when they shouldn't be. They should be kicking the extra point, getting the safe 1 point.
I think Oregon, good team. I think that Oregon will pull it off, but it will be close. It's a Friday night, I'll be excited to watch that one.
I mean, it's at Oregon. Oregon atmosphere absolutely electric. Fans rowdy. They'll show up.
And so next game we're going to talk Michigan Ohio State. Now this is
the big game. Big game.
Big
Only one can go to the CFP playoff.
So, I mean, let's see. I think it's 2 very, very good teams. I think this is, to me, the best game of the year so far.
Yeah.
Number 2 versus number 3.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait.
And I mean, I think Ohio State has proven. I mean, they beat Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
They beat better teams. I mean, Michigan's beats Penn State, but Penn State has offensive struggles. Ohio State's definitely had a better track record. I mean, I definitely barely beat IU in the beginning of the season. It was rough, but so was Alabama, for example, and they're also a CFP contender. But they've brought it. They've really Kyle McCord, very very solid. I think this Ohio State team might just. I mean, I don't know. Michigan at home, really tough, big house, 105,000 fans.
I think that Michigan is gonna pound the rock.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to run it up the gut. And if Ohio State can't stop that running game, they're going to lose. But if they can, I think Ohio State. Because J.J. McCarthy, he's a good, efficient quarterback. But he just doesn't throw the ball a lot.
Right. Michigan favored minus 4.5. Oh, I think this game's going to come down to a field goal.
Well, we'll see. I would take Ohio State on that 4.5.
I would. I would take Ohio State, but I'm winning outright. It's a coin flip.
Definitely 4.5.
All right, finally. Oh, not finally. No, we. Do you want to do this or no?
We'll do it.
Okay. Florida versus FSU.
FSU is without Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
So he's been their star quarterback, and it's always with these rivalry games. You never know how good is FSU. They're barely beating anyone. They're playing average at best teams. So you know what? This is my dark horse. Will they win? Will Florida win? Probably not. But will they cover that spread? I would like to think so.
Right.
I would like to think so.
I mean, of course, it'll be adjusted for Jordan Travis. Ooh, rough injury. He's probably going to be out for a really long time. Prayers go out to him and his family and the whole Florida State organization. But he's the backbone of that offense.
Oh, yeah.
And he's I wouldn't say he's a Heisman candidate. Some might, I wouldn't. But he's a respectable quarterback. Great performances in the past. I mean a little shaky against Clemson, for example.
Yeah.
But
That line
I think
is,
it's gonna be a close game.
the line is Florida State by 11.5. I think it's
a little
gonna
much.
be under a
Yeah,
touchdown.
rivalry game at Florida. You know, I wouldn't put my money on Florida State.
Oh yeah.
And then finally, Alabama Auburn.
You know, the Iron Bowl. Man, it's a good game. There's so many years where Auburn's able to pull the upset against Alabama when Alabama's fighting for that national championship or college football playoff spot, and Auburn just finds a way to wreak havoc.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good game. It's
Good
exciting. There's hatred on the field.
Good game, but Alabama clearly gonna win.
I think this Auburn team probably cannot do it. It's not. So there's some years where Auburn's just good. I think if Auburn was, for example, like 8-3 or even 7-4, but at 6-5, I don't see them making an upset.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Alabama, very Jalen Milroe. Whoops. Very very strong offense. Same with the defense. I don't have a whole lot to say. That concludes it.
Okay, thank you for watching.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
And
If you're on
remember,
Apple Podcasts, please follow and give us like
25
a good review.
likes and we'll
25
open this.
likes and we'll open up Prime.
Okay.
That's about it. All right, thank